If you're curious about draw.io, then you are in the right place. I'm Eric, and I'm going to be giving you a demo of draw.io. We're going to be going over some of the basics of diagramming and boards in draw.io, as well as its integration inside of Confluence and more. By the end of this demo, you'll have a better idea of some of the amazing things that you can do with this versatile tool. I am super excited to get started, so let's get to it. Now let's talk about draw.io's integration inside of Confluence. Here, I just have a Confluence page with some placeholder text. At the end of this video, we will have a diagram here. And one of the things I want you guys to see is that this is all done without leaving Confluence. This is all done without even having to leave the documentation that you're working on. And so there are 3 different macros of draw.io that you can add to your documents, and there's 2 ways to add them. So let me show you how that's done. All right, first we're going to hit edit. And the first way is you'll hit this plus button here, and then you'll just type draw.io, and they will come up. And we'll go over what those are in a second. And then the next, you just hit /draw.io, and they'll come up. If you're working in the data center, you won't hit /, you would hit the curly bracket and then start typing draw. But like I said, we're working in the cloud instance today. So we're going to go back and draw.io. And there's 3 different macros that show up. The first one is the board. This is great for being able to get ideas out easily, whether it be mind maps or brainstormings. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. The next macro is our diagram tool. This is a more structured layout. With the board and with the diagram tool, you can do the same thing in both. It's just laid out differently because we're trying to think of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Sometimes you just want to be able to dump ideas out and you don't want all the different tools on the interfaces there. And so with the board, that's not there. But with the diagram tool, you have a more structured layout. So all of that is there for you. This third macro gives you the option to embed a previously saved or created diagram that may be on another Confluence page into this document. It doesn't duplicate it, it just renders it from the source. So if you need a documentation that needs to share the exact same diagram, so that if any changes are made to that one, it also shows up here. That's when you want to use this embed feature. But to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to use the regular diagramming tool. We're going to start with that. And yeah, let's get to it. All right, so here's our nice Confluence page. And this documentation is all about our nice pasta restaurant. And now we want to create a document for our signature draw.io recipe. So we go to edit, and then we come here, and we're going to type /draw.io and select our diagram editor. Title it pasta recipe. For this recipe, we're going to be using a flowchart. So we're actually going to close our general section here, and we're going to open up this flowchart section here so we can use these shapes. And we'll uncheck this to get rid of the page view. That way we can have infinite diagram space. All right, so we're going to begin by taking the start shape and dragging and dropping it to the canvas, and then we're going to type start cooking. Then we're going to grab our next shape, and we're just going to drag and drop it here. And then we're going to type again, prepare and cut onions. Let's give it a little bit of space because now we want to mark our connector and simply start typing, prepare sauce. We're going to grab this process shape and drag it over and then just type heat up pan, and we'll list the ingredients that need to be heated up here. And this is actually starting to look a little too crowded, but no worries. You can actually use shift and drag or control and drag to reshape this. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. And same thing here. Change up the text a little here, and everything is nice. We're going to type add meat and roast it. But we want to be welcoming to everybody. I mean, what if some people are vegetarians? So we need to add a decision shape to illustrate in our diagram what happens if someone wants a vegetarian pasta or they want a regular, delicious one with meat. No shame to the vegetarians out there. All right, so let me increase distance. We're going to take our decision shape here and drag it on the connector and just release it and type vegetarian or vegan. I never know which one is the right term. And so now we're going to select our connector because in this case, if we continue through this path, the answer will be no. So we're going to just type no here. But in this case, the answer is yes. So we'll type yes. And for this one, we're going to add soy granules. We're going to grab this process shape and add tomato puree and seasoning. Then we're going to connect with a blue arrow, move inside the shape, and then let it go. And reduce the heat and let it simmer. And so for now, we've only dealt with what we do with the sauce. We haven't dealt with what we need to do with the actual noodles. Let's go back. We're just going to right click and drag the diagram back over to the start. Let's move this up a bit. Then we're going to reposition this connector. Then we're going to duplicate this shape by hitting Command D and then dragging it up here. Now, we need to add 2 gallons of water to our big pot and boil. And we're going to connect this to here. And then let's reposition this connector. And in this case, we're also going to add prepare pasta. With the orange diamond, you can actually reposition the text on the connector if you like. And we're actually going to move this up a bit because everything up until this point is the same. We drag this diamond here. All right, so we're going to add pasta. We're going to move this over because this is actually when we do this. And we'll add another shape for draining the water and putting the pasta back in the pot. So we'll move this up a bit and then we'll type on the connector, cook pasta for 15 minutes. We can go ahead and connect these two. And then we'll add another little note here right on the connector, add sauce to the drained pasta. And again, we can just create the connector and then immediately start typing. We'll add another one because we want to gently mix the pasta and sauce. And then we're going to separate the pasta into good portions because we're a gracious host in our restaurant here. Add a little basil and Parmesan. And last but not least, we will serve our pasta. So this is actually the end of our diagram. We actually need to change this to an N shape, which is no problem because all you have to do is choose the terminator, which is the N shape, and drag and drop it on the serve pasta activity shape until you see this little recycle icon. And we just let it go. And again, we're going to use the control key to reshape it a bit while keeping the text nice and centered. So now we just need to format our nice diagram. So since this is the terminator shape, we're going to turn this to red. And then we're going to go back to the start, and the start shape, we're going to turn green. Our decision shape is going to be orange. And for all the other shapes, I'm going to hold down shift and just click them one by one. They're going to be blue. All right, so now we'll hold down the Alt key and take our mouse wheel to help give us a nice overview so we can see our whole diagram here. All right, so now we want to change our connectors because our connectors should have a different layout too. And we're going to right click and then go to select edges. We can also do this with all the shapes. So all the shapes, we would select this one, all vertices, and select edges is all the connectors. So we'll turn the connectors to gray. And we want to have a different arrowhead. We want to make them a bit thicker and we want to make them rounded. All right, so our signature pasta recipe diagram is done, right? Well, not quite yet because as a restaurant owner, you have a lot of things to consider. What if people have allergies? Before we do that, we want to rename our page, and we do that by double-clicking on the page 1 tab here at the bottom. Now, a great thing that we can do here is we can keep this recipe as is, but add some more shapes and use those shapes to link to additional pages. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so first is going to be what we'll do if people have allergies. So we'll type here, then we'll duplicate this shape. And then we'll change this one to start cooking. And we're going to replace this shape here with this one. Now, all the questions that will derive from whether or not someone has allergies, we can use this shape to link to another page to address those. So now we're going to create another page. We're going to call it allergies. All right, then we're going to create a table here. We're going to do 3x5 cells. We'll increase the size a little, make a slight adjustment, and then we'll name these top columns here. So then we can say gluten, which is contained in the pasta, and then we can let them know to use gluten-free pasta instead. Allergy could be lactose, which is contained in Parmesan, but you can use yeast flakes. So even soy, which is in our vegan/vegetarian pasta sauce, that can actually be replaced with peas and bean granules. All right, so now that we have this here, we can go back to our pasta recipe. We select our allergy shape. We're going to hit right click and then we're going to hit edit link. Now here you have a couple options. You can link to a URL or you can link to a Confluence page anchor. But for this example, we want to link to our allergies tab. And now if we click here, that will bring us to our allergies tab. And what we'll do here is we'll add another shape because we want to be able to link back to the recipe from this page. So we'll add the shape here and we'll type back to recipe. We'll do the same thing, except this time we're going to link to the pasta recipe. All right, so now our diagram is looking good. We're going to hit publish. And we also update the Confluence page. And now we have our nice signature pasta recipe here. And what is awesome is if you click here, it'll take you to our allergies tab. And then you can also jump back to the general recipe page. So this is our recipe. You can also click it in the Confluence page viewer just to get a nice full view of our diagram here. And here also the linking feature still works. All right, so now let's take a look at the board editor. We're going to hit edit in our Confluence page. We're going to scroll down. And we're going to change this title here to invent new pasta recipes for our restaurant. And now we're going to add another diagram, except this time we're going to add a draw.io board. All right, here I'm going to go over, click on the text, and then I'm just going to start typing ideas for new pasta recipes because we need to do a bit of brainstorming here. I'm going to make this a little bigger here, move this here. And because I want to collaborate with my colleagues, I'm going to hit publish here. It's going to ask me to name it. I'm just going to type new recipes. And then you'll update the Confluence page. And now that we've updated the page, our team can access this whiteboard for our brainstorming sessions. And now when we go back into the diagram, we'll have our colleagues here ready to collaborate. And now she's going to add a couple of recipe ideas. And since draw.io is built around real-time collaboration, while she's doing that, I can just type here, letting her know that I actually have a cool recipe for this one. I'm going to just add some emojis just to express my excitement for this idea. And I really like this jackfruit tomato idea, so I'm just going to use our drawing feature to give this a +1. And as you can see, this can be as complex or as simple as we need. And when we're done here, we're just going to hit publish. If you want to learn more about draw.io, we do have our blogs as well as our YouTube channel, which includes our frequently most asked questions as well as detailed tutorials. If you're ready to try draw.io, you can try for free for 30 days. Just head over to the Atlassian Marketplace. I hope that this is helpful. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, stay connected.